polka music didn't die, it just needed a bigger horn section. Anyway, hey, we've been getting a few messages and some posts on the book face about questions about the album and just kind of general questions related to Dutchmen on Parade and the band Riverbend Dutchmen, and we thought we'd just take a minute to answer some of those that people have sent in. So I got just a few questions here that we thought we'd get to. What is Dutchman music and how is it different than other polka music? Well, Dutchman is kind of a twist on the word Deutsch, which of course means German in the German language. And that's where our style of music really got its roots. And it's focused heavily on a strong rhythm section with usually, in fact, almost always a tuba, drums and piano or banjo, but some other rhythm instrument. And then generally a full horn section, and almost always, at least in southern Minnesota, with a concertina, but sometimes with an accordion. And so that's kind of the instrumentation, but the style is what some people sometimes refer to as oompa music, and it's referring to the downbeat and the strong oomph of the tuba, if you will. It's different from other polka music because old-time music in general is very much ethnic, right? So the Germans had their style of music, the Czechs had theirs, the Slovenians had theirs, and Polish music, the Poles had Polish music. I guess that adds up. So they all brought their music with them when they immigrated to the United States, and depending on where they came from in Europe, they all have just a little bit different style to it. But Dutchman music refers to the style of music which became Americanized but originated in Germany. Then there's like three questions. They're kind of all the same story. One was, why did you call the album Dutchmen on Parade? How did the band choose songs for the album? And what song on the album surprised you the most when it was recorded? So those three questions are kind of all the same. People just don't know that, but here we go. Here's the explanation. So we chose songs from the album. Everybody in the band kind of brought forward their ideas for the mix of tunes that eventually ended up on the album. Myron proposed some songs. I had some things I wanted to do. Jensen composed the Elmira Laendler. Rick wanted to do a country western tune. So we had all these different ideas come together, and those are the songs that eventually ended up on the album. So the parade part of it, Myron came forward. He brought arrangements for two songs for the band to work up. One was the homemade polka, and the other was the parade polka, which is an old Fez Fritchie number from the 1950s. Most Dutchman bands just don't do it. It's kind of a forgotten song. And I think the one that had the most emphasis was the homemade polka. As it turned out, as we started practicing at rehearsals and stuff, these two songs, Dutchmen on Parade came from the parade polka, and that parade polka arrangement that Myron did, for whatever reason, can't explain it, the band kind of gravitated towards that. So everybody liked the parade polka, and so we started playing it. And then a couple things happened last year. Remember, we recorded the album in November, but I would say kind of all spring and summer long in 2025, we were working on the arrangements and rehearsing and so forth. And last year, 2025, was the 65th anniversary of the KEYC Bandwagon program, which anybody from southern Minnesota knows the Bandwagon program. We're featured on there quite frequently. And they were having, to mark the 65th anniversary of the Bandwagon program, we're having a float in the North Mankato Fun Days Parade. Now, Kris has a standing rule. Do not get involved in parades, because for the band, they're just a hassle. You got to get a big trailer, and you need a generator, and you set all that equipment up just to play for 5 minutes in the parade, and then you're done. So they're just generally kind of a hassle, and so I try to avoid them. But since this was a special occasion for the 65th anniversary of Bandwagon, we were in the North Mankato Fun Days Parade, and by all accounts, it was a big hit. People really enjoyed it. And the other thing was that we knew the album would be released this year, 2026, which is the 250th anniversary of the USA. So all of those things kind of came together, and that's how we landed on the title Dutchmen on Parade. It's for the parade polka. Another question. What is the most challenging part of recording a large old-time dance band? It is challenging because there's a lot of different ways you could record it. We elected to record everything all in one session primarily. So we had everybody in the band come in, and in the recording studio, you want to kind of isolate individual instruments, but yet you want them to also be together, and it's helpful for people to see each other because you pick up on all the nonverbal cues of when we're changing dynamics or rhythm or tempo and so forth. And so that's challenging, just getting a 9-piece band situated and arranged where everybody can kind of see each other and also keep some isolation in the instruments. So we had all the horns in kind of one room, isolated with different microphones, but yet also captured the room sound. And then for those instruments that couldn't be in the room, like you can't put the drums in the same room as the horns, or all you would hear is the drums. We worked out a video system where everybody could see each other on a TV monitor, and then even if you weren't in the same room, everybody could still see each other. So that helped. But yeah, that's challenging. We worked through it. I think it did good. I felt like we had a nice mix and balance on the album. So that's probably the most challenging part, is getting everybody together. I will say this about that. Speaks to the professionalism of the musicians. I'm a biased opinion, I know that, but we've got the best. We recorded 21 technically, because we also recorded a Christmas song the same day that isn't on the album. But we recorded 21 songs, one of which was Harbor Lights, which we never even planned to do. It's just kind of like, well, we're way ahead of schedule, let's do Harbor Lights. So we did. But the band recorded 21 songs all in about an 8 or 10 hour session. I don't remember exactly, but all in one day. And for any band, that's a feat. A couple retakes here and there, things we didn't like or things we wanted to fix. And then in post-production, there were some retakes on a couple things. But for the most part, all 20 tracks on the album were all recorded in the same session. So anyway, Harbor Lights was never intended to be on the album, but turned out kind of cool. We added a steel guitar. Kind of gives us that Hawaiian vibe, so check it out. Then there were some other kind of just lighter questions, general questions about the band. What song do you play for someone who's never heard the Riverbend Dutchmen? And I would say there's probably 2 songs. One isn't an old-time song. One's a big band song. One song that immediately captures everybody's attention, and I don't care what age they are or what kind of music they normally listen to, but for whatever reason, the hair stands up on the back of your neck. But when we play In the Mood, Glenn Miller song, everybody immediately, the whole room shifts, everybody's attention shifts, and everybody taps along, and it's a cool song, and it immediately grips everybody's attention. So that's one. And the other one I'd say is the Loveless Polka. It is such a powerful tune with a lot of thick saxes, and it is a traditional Dutchman tune, really made famous by the Six Fat Dutchmen. But the Loveless Polka, that to me epitomizes what Dutchman music is supposed to sound like. What was the funniest or most memorable moment during the recording? There were several. Most of them are not appropriate for public hearing on Bookface or wherever. One funny thing, the last album we did prior to Dutchmen on Parade was Grab a Little Sunshine. And I had a dog named Molly, and for whatever reason, every time we'd fire up the trombone, Molly would howl when we recorded Grab a Little Sunshine. This time around, when we recorded Dutchmen on the Parade, when the trombone would play, Molly was fine. She was quiet, didn't say a thing. No howling, no barking. So we thought that was funny. It was kind of an inside joke with the band, but we finally found the right trombone tone where the dogs don't howl. So we're counting that as a win. Anyway, Molly the dog. We had to put her down in January. She's getting very old and very sick, and so Molly's no longer with us. But that was kind of an inside joke for a while. Everybody thinks that's funny. The perfect trombone sound where the dog doesn't howl. Who in the band is most likely to say, "Let's do one more take"? I think there's probably a tie. During the recording session, I would say it's most likely to be Myron. Myron has a great ear. He hears a lot of things. He hears all the harmony parts working together or not working together. And if there's something a little bit off, timing or this note isn't quite right, Myron hears all that almost immediately and isn't afraid to say, "Let's do it one more time to get it right." So I would say during the recording session with everybody, Myron. In post-production, definitely me. If there's stuff we're fixing, concertina parts or vocal parts or whatever, there were some things I probably did 20 different takes on until we got it just perfect, or close enough to perfect that it could be heard in public. So I think it's kind of a tie. Myron for the recording session and me for in post-production, because there was a lot of time spent in post-production getting it just right. So anyway, those are just a few of the questions that were sent in. Maybe if we get some more questions here in the not too distant future, we'll do another one of these videos. But thanks for sending in the questions. Thanks for the interest in Dutchmen on Parade. We appreciate everybody that came to the release party and everyone that has purchased an album. Thank you very much. We appreciate that. The music is for all of you. So the ballroom sound is back. Dutchmen on Parade. Take care.